Welcome back to another segment of Learning with Lindsey. And the heat has been the topic of discussion lately, where we're seeing these heat index values reaching the triple digits, and that's actually sparked a couple of heat advisories over the last couple of weeks. So we're definitely going to be wanting to watch as we move further into the summer, but this was just our first heat wave of the summer. And so I figured it'd be a good time to talk about heat exhaustion, heat stroke, all the threats that come with heat, because heat is actually one of the #1 life-threatening problems with the weather. So it's something that you want to pay attention to, because you don't always know when it's happening in the moment. And so it can creep up on you, and heat exhaustion is fairly common. Heat stroke is definitely super dangerous and could lead to some long-term issues. So a couple of tidbits for heat exhaustion. You know, when this starts to happen, you're going to sweat a little bit more and your skin goes pale. You start to get that clammy feeling, and you might feel a little lightheaded, dizzy, and even just not a little shaky maybe. But you are still alert and aware of your surroundings. You know what's going on. You can respond to people. So that's the big difference between heat exhaustion and once you get into that next level of heat stroke, then you're no longer aware or alert of your surroundings. Your heart rate will start to weaken a bit, and you might get headache, nausea, so all of that could happen. Heat stroke is definitely far more dangerous, because this could cause some long-term neurological issues after you start to see, you know, your skin gets hot and red. Sometimes you'll be completely dry. So you know how heat exhaustion, you're sweating a lot. It's kind of the opposite for heat stroke, because you've lost pretty much majority of the water contents, and when you've been sweating, it leads into the heat stroke. Confusion, slurred speech, so this is where you have some of those neurological symptoms that start to creep up, and you could even lose consciousness. Temperature of your body starts to increase also. Now, all of this happens, and you could be in high humidity. That adds to it. That heat risk is a bit of that temperature plus your humidity, and that adds to the heat index. So those are the combinations of what you think about when you could have some heat-related illnesses. But something that you may not know, if you are specifically more in a dry climate, so not necessarily a problem Memphis has, but you could get hypothermia in the summertime. This happens at higher elevations, but also dry climates, arid climates like the desert. In Arizona, this could happen. What happens, it'd be middle of the summertime. It's hot outside, especially we know that in Arizona or anywhere in the desert, you're going to have incredibly high temperatures, but the air itself is so dry. So say you go out to the pool or you go for a run and you're sweating. If you go into a shaded area, as pictured here, you're in that shaded area or lounging on the chair after you've gone into the pool. Because the air is so dry, there may even be a bit of a breeze, you're actually going to see the water on your skin evaporate much quicker. It's called evaporative cooling. It's your body's way of naturally cooling itself down. And usually that's a good thing. When we sweat and it cools us down, that's very helpful to calm our body temperature down. But when you get to this hypothermia in the summertime level, then the sweat or water on your skin evaporates much quicker, and then you have your heat being pulled from your body much quicker than it needs to be, too quick that your body can't regulate its body temperature. So water, when it changes phases, it does take quite a lot of heat from your body. That's why you can just drop in your body temperature so quickly during something like this. It also happens again at high elevations, even just on a breezy day, and you lose that water in your skin, you lose too much heat too quickly. That's really all it is when you have your evaporation rate that outpaces your body's heat production, and you just cool off too quickly. But it can happen. Rapid evaporative cooling. Again, the main areas that this is going to happen, not in an area like Memphis. We see far too much humidity, but I just thought this was interesting because it could happen in the desert. It could happen at high climates. If you go hiking, if you're sweating and you just lose that sweat on your body, and most likely a little dehydrated also will play into a role with that. So that's a fun learning fact. Not, again, going to be an issue here in the Memphis area because we do have far too much humidity in the region. But on the opposite of that, we sweat and there's so much humidity, that sweat doesn't go anywhere, so your body can overheat That's why we lean more towards the heat exhaustion, heat stroke, because your body isn't able to cool itself. So those are the kind of the opposite ends of the spectrum. Too much humidity, you can't regulate your body temperature due to evaporative cooling. And too little humidity, it might happen too quickly, and then you could have go into hypothermic shock. So a lot of interesting facts when it comes to the heat and how our bodies respond to that heat. But if you want to know more about any weather-related event, you can email weatherquestions@wreg.com, and might be able to be shown on the Learning with Lindsey segment or just on our podcast, The Weather Lounge. So email us if you have any questions about the weather, you want me to explain anything weather-related. I have a lot of fun with this, so don't be shy. Go ahead and email us, and we'll do another one of these next week.